The Mighty Thor Volume 2, number 36, 37, and 38, which were published in 2001, witnessed an epic confrontation between Thor and the Destroyer, who in this book was animated by no one other than Taryn, also known as Thor Girl. The book opens in a correctional facility with Loki, who was trapped in the body of Olson and cast in there by Odin. He was approached by a couple of inmates who wanted to kill him, but they suddenly froze in their place. Loki found that everyone froze in the prison except for him and realized that someone came to help him. Suddenly, the one who cast the spell showed herself and turned out to be Karnilla, Queen of the Norn. She used her magic to free Loki from the mortal body he was trapped in, then explained that Odin has trapped Thor in a mortal body as well, and she wants Loki to exterminate his brother, so her beloved Balder would finally gain favor in the eyes of Odin. Loki told Karnilla that this won't be easy, cause Odin would protect Thor, but Karnilla assured Loki that they would succeed, before teleporting away. Meanwhile, Lady Sif arrived in a hospital in New York City, carrying Jake Olson, who sustained severe burn injuries. This happened when Thor fought Gladiator, who managed to knock out Thor with one single punch and forced him to revert back to Jake Olson, cause he was away from the hammer for 60 seconds. Jake sustained severe burns and was in critical need for help. Later on in Asgard, Odin and the Asgardians were celebrating their victory over the trolls, with Hercules attending the celebration. Taryn broke into the hall and told Odin that punishing Thor was errant and misguided. She was involved because she fought Gladiator and prevented him from killing Jake. Odin told Taryn that although she is the designate, the being upon whom the future of God and mortal alike depends, she is still young and doesn't know the ways of such complicated matters. Thor turned his back on Asgard in its hour of greatest need, thus must Asgard likewise turn its back on Thor, until the lessons of leadership have been learned. Odin, however, told Taryn that he would never stand in her way if she did not agree with his decision. She said that she will not ignore Thor, who saved her from Thanos, and will definitely take an action. Odin then was alerted that Loki escaped his prison. Later on, Loki in his astral form arrived in the hospital where Jake Olson was lying between life and death. He realized that this was the perfect time to finish his brother and started looking for someone to use as a weapon. Suddenly, he came across Taryn, who arrived to check on Jake and decided to use her in his plan to destroy Thor. He took the disguise of a man who was walking by and approached her, claiming that he needed her help. He touched her and managed to mind control her, remarking that she will be remembered as the Thunder God's assassin. Later on, the Destroyer appeared from nowhere and attacked the hospital where Jake was lying and caused horrible damage. Sif told Jane Foster that the Destroyer came to kill Thor, but Marnot suddenly appeared, the alternate form of Odin's raven, his Camor. He confronted the Destroyer, remarking that it's Odin's ultimate weapon, but there must be a life force animating it, and found that the host was very powerful and that Thor was needed. Marnot turned Jake into Thor, who said that the Destroyer was last imprisoned in the Vault of Whispers, but doesn't know who unleashed it. Thor pounded on the Destroyer and managed to knock it away, but was interrupted by Marnot, who told Thor that the life force inside the Destroyer was so important to the future of gods and mortals alike. The Destroyer knocked Thor down with a powerful punch, and Thor realized that Taryn was the life force inside the armor, the one being who must not be attacked and who must survive above all others. Later on in Asgard, the Watcher appeared to Odin and showed him that Thor was fighting the destroyer. Odin realized that Terran was the life force animating it, and that Loki must be the one standing behind all this trouble. Back on Earth, the destroyer was pounding on Thor, who remarked that he could not fight Terran. From inside the armor, Terran remarked that she could not stop the fight, and that the armor's force can't be denied. The destroyer tossed Thor into the nearby building, then knocked him down with a car which exploded, but Thor wasn't scratched, remarking that the power of the hammer may resolve the conflict, which he used the last time to banish the destroyer into another dimension. He tried to do that again, but the destroyer was faster and attacked him, snatching the hammer from his grip and hitting him with it with great force. Lady Sif then tried to save Thor, but the destroyer shattered her sword with another blow. The destroyer blasted Thor, then started wrecking the whole place with Mjolnir. Thor remarked that he has never seen the destroyer that savage and violent, and realized that this was due to Terran's power, which was nearly limitless in potential. Knowing that without the hammer he will revert back to Jake Olson, Thor attacked again and tried to take the hammer back, but the destroyer overpowered him and knocked him down. Sif then attacked the destroyer, trying to buy Thor some time, but was knocked away. Thor tried to save Sif, but the destroyer broke his arm with the hammer, grabbed him from the hair, and knocked him down with a powerful punch that seemingly killed him. Inside the armor, Terran told Thor to forgive her, as she was helpless against the armor's force. The destroyer blasted the fallen Thor before starting its rampage, destroying everything in its path. Thor then reverted back to Jake Olson, who was away from the hammer for more than 60 seconds. He tried to reach Terran inside the armor, but the destroyer knocked him away, and shockingly enough, he survived that blow. Meanwhile, in Asgard, Odin finally decided to help his son, and rushed to the battlefield on Earth, only to be interrupted by a beast summoned by Loki. Later on, Amora the Enchantress arrived and decided to save Thor. In her astral form, Amora sensed that Terran was the life force animating the armor, and realized that it was Loki and Karnilla standing behind all this mess. Suddenly, Jake came back and hit the destroyer with a car, but the blow did not even budge it. Meanwhile, in Loki's hideout, Amora found Terran's physical body, which was motionless. She sensed that Terran's hammer was similar to Mjolnir, and decided to make use of it. Back to the battlefield, the destroyer hit Jake with the car's door and knocked him out cold, but was attacked by Lady Sif, who managed to slow it down. Amora then arrived and gave Jake Terran's hammer. Jake said that he did not know if this gonna work, but he was out of options. He tried to transform to Thor, but it did not work. Odin then arrived after killing the beast, remarking that Terran's hammer is not Mjolnir, so it won't help Thor in this matter, as Odin is the only one who could turn Jake into Thor. The destroyer was about to finish Sif when Thor finally intervened, remarking that although Terran is the life force inside the armor, the destroyer must fall. Thor used Terran's hammer in the fight and found that it was as powerful as Mjolnir itself. Thor remarked that although the destroyer's power was incredible, Terran managed to hold back the power enough for him to take Mjolnir from the destroyer's grasp, and that he will be able to finally finish it. But Odin intervened and stopped the fight. He said that the destroyer was his creation, therefore he is the only one who could cast away the life force within and send it back to its rightful body. Terran then regained her senses and decided to take it out on Loki and Karnilla. This was one of Thor's most epic fights against the Destroyer, which could have been prevented had Odin decided to intervene from the very beginning. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Thanks for watching and have a nice one.